Okay, may I get your names and titles first?
Mike DaPrat, President of Steelworker Local 2251.
Lisa Dale, President of Local United Steelworkers Local 2724.
Now, you've heard David Orazietti's announcement today, sort of a proposal or plan to try to improve things. He calls it fair trade, but primarily it's for the steel industry, which obviously you're representing. What is your reaction to Mr. Oraziett's announcement today first?
Well, we're fully supportive, obviously. We need to realize that this is a global economy and that the steel producing capability has increased to the point that everyone is fighting for the same market. And the problem is that the steel that's coming in is unfairly subsidized and undermines our industry.
What is the atmosphere like right now, given all the news surrounding not just SR but also Tenaris?
I'm not comfortable enough to speak on Tenaris. However, I can tell you that within our own steelworks, at least with my members, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of unknown of what the future will hold. But there are a lot of concerned people, in particular for our pensioners within our own community and elsewhere where they have retired to. So we do have some, genuine concerns, and we're looking forward to putting some pressures on both levels of government. And it was good to see the support from MPP Orazietti today.
So, I guess maybe to phrase the question differently, what has it been? How the workers experienced prior to today's announcement? Any production or effects from the unfair trade, as Mr. Orazietti puts it?
Well, obviously, because of the attempts to become more efficient and cost cutting, the stress level is extremely high, both on the supervisors and on the workers. And the interaction between the two is becoming increasingly tense because everyone is trying to work to a much higher standard and a much higher productivity.
So, I mean, the announcement obviously bolsters things, but it's the clock is ticking now for the company being for sale to find a buyer, and obviously, given the tense environment, is this going to be enough, perhaps, to turn the tide? Particularly at SR, who is up.
Well, I mean, this is no different than someone that's injured that requires transfusion of blood. We need to maintain the company, and we need to maintain the jobs, and we need to have fair trade. The reality about free trade versus fair trade is we can compete globally if the same standards are applied to the products coming in, especially in light of the fact that they're being produced without the constraints that we have with respect to human rights, employment standards, and environmental standards.
So what is the next step? Obviously, this doesn't just affect workers; it affects retirees as well. What have things been like for them?
I can tell you there's a few that are here that can probably comment more, but some of the concerns that we certainly are hearing out of our office for our retirees is the concerns about an ongoing pension, of course, those payments every month, but in particular benefits. And as we saw out of the old Stelco U.S. Steel in Hamilton, we saw, a judge that granted U.S. Steel the opportunity to cease payments for some of their retirees as well as discontinue benefits. So that's a genuine concern for our retirees.
Obviously, this is going to be an issue you're going to be closely watching. How obviously those lines of communication are going to continue to be open. What do you hope? I mean, obviously you hope to see things improve, but what is the next step from your group's perspective?
Well, we can restructure the company and we can restructure the debt, but we can't develop the market if the government is not supporting us. There's infrastructure spending coming. Well, obviously it should be Canadian steel, Canadian produced products that are put into the infrastructure improvements. What kind of a stimulus is it if we're putting in steel that's foreign produced?
Are you referring to the $60 million that was announced last summer?
No. I'm talking about the infrastructure that the Prime Minister Trudeau spoke about and that the provincial government is speaking about now. Bridges, roadways, highways, etc.
I mean, we need both levels of government to pay a lot of attention to public policy, like as Mike has said, with respect to transportation, the trade economy. We need better legislation in place so that we can preserve what we have as Canadian steel market.